I've been using reading progress for a couple of years within teams when delivering English, but I think that it's much, you could use it in all areas, and it's a great way of embedding English, and also you can use it for flipped learning, for example. So I wanted to show you, I've actually got a team of learners who I'm running this little education, conversational English club, because a lot of our learners are non-native speakers. And so in my English classes, I always get them to read out loud. And understandably, at first, they're nervous about it. But it really sort of fits in with what Phil was saying before about pedagogical principles, because fluency is really important for summative assessment. You know, when they're studying English, they need to read quite lengthy text sometimes. So the more that you get them to read aloud, the more their fluency improves and their understanding and their vocabulary, etc. So I'll show you it actually creating one, and then I'll try and show you an example of one that I've done with some students. So you go to create and then go to Learning Accelerators. There's a few in there, and if anybody wants to know any about the others, I have been playing with those as well. We're going to look at reading progress though. So you set this through assignments, and there are some examples that you can use in their library. They're a bit limited, and because I know that these learners are studying at level 2, level 3 and above, I wanted to bring in, and a lot of them don't read fiction, so that tends to be what I focus on. So I've just got a short sort of Christmas themed text here that I can't take any credit for. ChatGPT wrote this just for this purpose. So pick a reading level, and as I say, because I teach the English, I would say this is generally level 2. It's definitely something you could see in GCSE English. The genre, you've just got a choice of fiction or non-fiction, but I really like the idea that you could upload anything. You could get students to read something aloud that's related to hair and beauty or construction, around the theory, for example. Then you can give them as many attempts as you like. You can either let them have unlimited or right up to 10. I usually go for 3 because the first time that they do it, they tend to mess up, but it gives them an opportunity to retry. You can also put a time limit on it, depending on the length of the text. And then give them a cut-off time if you like. Now, this bit here, pronunciation sensitivity, I generally go for more sensitive, but when you see from what it feeds out, you'll see that sometimes, because of a lot of the learners have got quite a heavy accents, sometimes it will say they've mispronounced something when really it's just their accent. Also, you can add reading coach, which will pull out 5 of the complex words and then help them to practice them. And if you want to, you can add some comprehension questions and it will generate those with AI, or you can put some in yourself. Let's go for 5 questions. So it's reading the passage and generating the questions. Now, of course, you can go through them and decide if you want to change them or whatever, but I'm going to say that I'm happy with those. So then next, just some basic instructions for the students. Read aloud with camera and mic on. You can choose whether or not they have their camera on. I find that they pronounce better when they do have their camera on, but they don't have to. So if they're doing it on a phone, for example, they might not want to have their camera on. And then just like any other assignment, you set a deadline for when you want it doing, and you can also put the reflect in. So just still thinking about it, I think. So that's how you set it up. Now, I wanted to show you one that we've actually have already assigned. So if we look, and I've spoken to this student and she's happy for it to be shared. So if you see there, it shows the video, but also it basically marks it for you. It's so time saving. So it tells you how many words a minute, how many words she practiced, any mispronunciations, omissions. And then in the feedback box, you can literally say, really well done, 97% accuracy. I would suggest to improve the mispronunciations, slow down a bit when reading, etc. And it highlights the words that she got wrong based on that colour coding at the top. Now, when you return it to the student, they can then see that highlighted text. They can click on each word that they got wrong and it will pronounce it for them. But another great thing that you can do with it is to go through insights. And this will give you a breakdown for the whole group. For example, has their fluency improved? Is there a dip in fluency? What words did they find challenging? And then with those challenging words, you can assign it where it will basically generate a new text for them to read out loud, which incorporates those 5 words. And then you assign that again. So it's almost, it keeps, it's both inclusive and individualized. It keeps doing, adapting to what the learner is doing and what they're reading. I've got loads more detail on it and loads more examples, and also the links, the theory behind it and the links to pedagogy. But I'll cut it short there. If anyone else wants to, anyone wants to know any more, let me know.